Welcome. So sometimes you have a triangle problem and you have to find the area, but you do not know the height. So let's cover how to do that. I'm going to cover an example here. Let's consider an isosceles. Triangle. So this is a triangle that has two sides that are of equal length. So the example I'd like to consider will be 5, 5, and 6 at the base. So because my two side lengths here are 5 and 5, I could divide this in half. And I could say that each distance from here to here is 3 and 3. Now, I can only do that if these two side lengths are equal, the 5 and 5. But since they are, I could divide it in half. And then I could use the Pythagorean theorem to find this missing height, because it is essentially the missing side of a right triangle here. And then I would have the base, which would be 6 times the height. So I could do that. So let's go ahead and do that with the Pythagorean theorem. So the Pythagorean theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is always the hypotenuse. So let's plug in some values here. I know I'll say it doesn't matter with a or b which one is which leg. So I'll call this one 3 squared. I don't know the second leg. I have that missing height, so just call it b squared for now. And then the c, that's going to be 5. That's the hypotenuse, so 5 squared. So we end up with 9 plus b squared equals 25. I will subtract 9 from both sides and get b squared equals 16. And then when I take the square root, I will have b equals 4. Technically, it's plus or minus 4, but because we're dealing with lengths, which are positive distances, we will go with a positive value. So I know now what that height is. I found that missing height, and then I can apply my area formula. So the area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. So that will be 1/2 the base was 6, my apologies. 6 times 4. And in this instance, I didn't give any units, so we won't have units to share. But 6 times 4 is 24, divided by 2 is 12. So we'll just call that units, because I forgot to put units on the problem. So that's what you can do if it's an isosceles triangle. But it isn't always. Sometimes you just have a whole bunch of side lengths and it's just a triangle. There's nothing special about it. And so you can still find, for any triangle, if you know all 3 side lengths, you can find the area. And we use something called Hero's formula for this. And this is the following. A equals the square root. I'll put a whole bunch of stuff inside the square root. S times s minus a times s minus b times s minus c. So that whole thing is the area formula. This s, well, that's not side length. A, b, and c are the side lengths of your triangle. So the triangle will look like this, and the side lengths will be a, b, c. So S then is what's called the semi-perimeter. What it is the perimeter divided by 2. So A plus B plus C over 2. So let's go ahead and apply that using this isosceles triangle that we just did and see what happens. So for the previous example, let's consider S. Now, my side lengths were 5, 5, and 6. So I'll have 5 plus 5 plus 6 divided by 2, this semi-perimeter. That'll be 16 divided by 2, which is 8. Then I need to plug that into my area formula. So I'm going to have the square root of 8 times 8 minus 5 times 8 minus 5 again times 8 minus 6. Let's clean that up a little bit. And we get the square root of 8 times 3 times 3 times 2. And I made that square root too long. Here we go. All right, and then let's multiply out. So we end up with 6 times 2, 9 times 2, that's 18. 18 times 8, I apologize, I should have done this on my calculator ahead of time. $18 times 8 is 144. So inside my square root, I'm going to have 144, and the square root of 144 is 12. So that makes me happy. All right, so that is how you solve these triangle problems when you do not have the height. And this Hero's formula will work every single time as long as you have all three sides and you apply the formula correctly. The isosceles triangle, you had to use a little bit of assessment to see if you're allowed to use that by seeing if you have those two sides that are the same, then dividing, finding the missing height, and etc. Thank you so much for watching.